video day, guys. So for today's video, I promised you guys that I would do an entire review of the Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals palette, and I did. I've done an entire review, guys. I have 4 looks that I'm going to show you guys in this video. I'll show you guys the looks, and then right after the look is created, I'm going to talk to you guys about the actual colors that I use so you guys can kind of get an idea of my thoughts on individual colors. And then after, at the end of this video, there will be an entire breakdown of what I'm thinking. I also did a wear test. I'll let you guys know the results of that wear test also at the end of the video. And there's also going to be a little quick, I'm also going to have a little quick story time about my experience with the Tati Beauty customer service and an issue that I had with the palette. So that's everything that we're going to talk about in this video. This is going to be a longer video, so go ahead and get a snack because there's a lot to cover in this video. You guys asked for a lot of looks. I did a lot of looks. You guys want a lot of information. I tried to get as much as I could from what you guys asked for, so we're gonna get into that all right now. If you guys are new and you've never seen me before, I'm Christina Brooke. I would love it if maybe you would take a second and hit the subscribe button. And while you're there, if you hit the little notification bell, it helps me. So let's go ahead and get into everything right now. So we're first gonna start with the customer service experience because I just wanna put this out there because some of you guys know that this was happening because you follow me on Instagram, and I did mention this. So I ordered my palette the day it released, and I ordered expedited shipping so that it would arrive to my house on October 31st. So October 31st comes and the palette is nowhere to be found, didn't come to my house. I look at the delivery and it says delivered. So I say, great, palette's not here, but it says delivered. So I waited till the next day, and the next day was, I believe, Thursday was the 31st. So Friday, I said, let me wait, because you know, sometimes the post office will say something's delivered and it comes the next day. So I said, let me wait till the next day and let's see, maybe, you know, the guy didn't drop it off and he'll put it in my mailbox the next day. The next day comes, no palette. So I already went, oh God, what happened to my palette? So I sent Tati Beauty an email saying, hey, my palette never arrived. It says delivered. What do I do? And they responded with, hey, wait a couple more days. So then I wrote back, just so you know, I paid expedited shipping, so I know it was supposed to be here the 31st because expedited shipping, like, they have to deliver it by a certain day. Like, that's what expedited shipping is. So like the same way in Sephora, if you order something next day air, it has to come the next day. If not, you can call Sephora and tell them, hey, it got here a day late, and they will literally give you back your money because you're supposed to get it the day they say. So expedited shipping and arriving the 31st, that should have been at my house by the 31st. That's why I paid more money for it to arrive that day. I just told them, hey, just so you know, I did pay expedited shipping. I don't know if you looked into my order, but it should have really been here by the 31st. And we're already on, I contacted them on Monday. So I contacted them 2 business days after I was already supposed to have gotten the palette, which most companies would have already been like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry, that shouldn't happen, right? So then they told me to wait a few more days. So then I waited until Thursday. I already contacted USPS. I put in a case with them. They contacted the postman. They were all searching for this palette because it's like an open case or whatever, or claim. I don't know what it's called. So I finally contact Tati Beauty again and I say, hey, look, it's been 1 week since the day that my expedited shipping package should have arrived. This thing is gone, like it's missing. Like, I don't know, what do I do? Are you gonna send me another palette? What is going on here? So then they finally responded with, okay, we're gonna send you another palette because obviously your palette is not going to arrive. That if I wanted, I should call USPS and tell them to hold the package for me so I can go pick it up so it doesn't get lost again, which I've never been told that by any other company in my life. But then again, it's not like I've ever had a lost package. I've only had items missing from packages, but I've never actually had a package missing. So then I was kind of like, I thought, like, well, I kind of don't want to go driving to the post office, you know, like that's kind of like a pain in the ass, you know? They had a lot of information on that email that even though it wasn't like negative, it was just kind of like, okay, why are you telling me so much information? Like, I feel like customer service is usually a little bit more like for the customer, a little bit more like, oh my God, I'm so sorry your experience was bad. I'm so sorry this. Not like, hey, your experience was so crappy. Maybe you should go to the post office and pick it up yourself so that you make sure you get it. you know, like, I don't know, I personally just felt like it was a little bit less customer servicey than it should have been. But besides that, I was fine. They were sending me the palette, fantastic. But and then I thought to myself, I was like, holy crap, hold on. They just told me that they're gonna send it to me in 10 business days. I paid for expedited shipping and I never got it. And I know a lot of you guys were telling me on the community tab, like, you should have gotten your expedited shipping back, and I never asked for it. So then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna ask for the expedited shipping back, because, or at least apply it to this package so that I can get my package quicker. My response was no. So Tati Beauty did not return my expedited shipping because they said that technically the package was shipped and delivered on time, even though it never arrived to me. So there we go. That's what we've got to work with. That was probably the part that I was a little bit annoyed with the most. Like, besides everything else that I had to wait a week to even prove that, hey, I didn't get this, I also never got my expedited shipping back, which I feel like out of courtesy, they probably should have just given it to me. I don't know. I honestly don't know how I feel right now. I feel happy that I'm getting the palette, but a little bit like, thanks. So I will say my customer service experience was not amazing, to say the least. It was actually pretty frustrating. I have been dealing with this for like over 2 weeks already, and I'm like, but yeah, so my mom ordered the palette too, and she got her palette like regular shipping, and she got her palette like 2 days after my palette was supposed to arrive. So she lent me her palette so that I can do my first video that I did. So mine still hasn't even gotten here. I haven't even gotten my palette yet. My palette has not arrived. I think it's supposed to arrive on Saturday, on the 16th or something like that. So, but let's get into the video. I'm going to show you guys the different eye looks that I did with this palette. I will not be considering the Tati Beauty experience, the customer service whatsoever when it comes to the actual palette. Those are two completely different things, because not everybody is going to have the experience that I had. Some people are going to have the most amazing experience. I cannot judge the palette based off of customer service experience. I'm just going to base it off of the palette. So if you guys don't know this, but I think most of us do know this, Tati Beauty is created by the Glam Life Guru, which is Tati Westbrook here on YouTube. She is actually one of the YouTubers that are bigger that I actually watch and enjoy. I love Tati's channel. I really, really like Tati. I think she's a very smart businesswoman. I really love that she's created all of these businesses for herself. She's actually created something out of YouTube, and she's made businesses, and she's I very much like Tati. I really like her channel too. So my review is gonna have nothing to do with Tati as the YouTuber and as somebody who I actually like and watch. So we're gonna get into the eye looks right now. I'm gonna show you guys the different eye looks, and in between each eye look you will hear me talking about what I'm thinking of how the shadows are performing. Then we'll get into my final thoughts. Let's get into that right now. So this is gonna be my day look, and then I'm gonna transform it into a night look. I'm gonna start off with the Soothe Matte. Then I'm going to jump into the Story Matte. Put this on the outer edge, tapping lightly. Now I'm just going to grab into the Soothe Sequin. And then going in with my finger in the Soothe Sequin, trying to see if I can get some of those sequins to stay on. Jumping into Ritual, I'm going to go ahead and put that as a liner. On my lips, I just put on Back in Vogue from MAC, and here's a nice little day look. So now to spice it up a little bit, let's move on to some nighttime. All I'm going to do is grab the color Ritual, which is a dark brown, and I'm going to go ahead and add that to the outer edge to kind of like spicing up the outer edges just a tad. And let's transform this into a more night look. I'm gonna add a little story to the lower lash line. A little bit of Ritual for the lower lash line. The sequin one, try to see if I can amp this up a little bit. Now just gonna grab a little bit of a pop of color for the inner corners. And I'm just gonna grab this color right here from Aura. This is the metallic Aura. And there we go. We've transitioned this into a more night look. So here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys some observations just from this look, just because since I'm gonna do 4 of them, I just wanna make sure that I can tell you guys all the different colors I used. So the first thing I'm gonna tell you guys is the first time I used this palette was yesterday, and I used it with a base, and it was the MAC Painterly Paint Pot. And I didn't set it or anything. I just put a base on and then let it dry and then went in with the shadows. And I feel like the shadows were sticking to the base. I was having a hard time blending out the matte colors. They weren't really blending that good at all. And I was kind of like, uh-oh, especially Poet was really giving me a hard time yesterday. And I was like, what's going on? But today I decided not to put a base down. So I just basically had bare lids. And I do think that the bare lids helped me blend these eyeshadows out a lot better. Soothe, this matte shadow blended really good. I think yesterday it blended decent too, but today it blended a lot better. So I think Soothe was really good. It was a really good shadow. Story looked like it was blending pretty decent as well. I didn't have a real big issue with Story. A little on the lighter orange side than I would have preferred, especially to do like more day looks. I almost feel like it should have been a little bit more like a burnt orange than this color. It almost looks burnt orange, but it comes off a little bit more orange on the lids. I would have liked it a little bit more burnt. For people who like to wear more like dayish looks, I think that this might be a little bit harder of a color. Does it still do its job? It does. I wouldn't mind wearing it, but I do know a lot of people might have preferred this to be more burnt orange than this color. Now when it came to the sequin, I was so excited about this Soothe sequin, to be honest guys. I really thought that this was gonna be like so beautiful. And I feel like when I was putting it on, I kind of saw like a little shimmer to my eye and I was like, well, am I putting on the matte one? Hold on a second. I was kind of confused. I kind of had to zoom in pretty closely to see, oh yeah, there is the sequin. But the problem is this formula, because this is like, it's like a satin. I think like this is like a satin with little specks of glitter in it. It's not sticking 100%. So as I apply it, it looks kind of cool and looks better if you do it with your finger. But when you have to blend it out, because you can't just put a matte shadow down like that, I have to kind of do something because otherwise it will just look like powder. It kind of starts to disappear. So if you guys look really closely, you might see that I have a little bit of like glitter there, but it kind of gets into the crease, which I don't really like, because when I'm putting like glitters, I want it to stay where I put them. You know what I mean? I don't want them going everywhere. I just want them to stay in place. So I feel like the sequin formula is not as cool as I thought so far, especially for the Soothe shade. I feel like it didn't do that much of a difference between the matte and this one. It just added a little bit of sparkles to it, and the sparkles are not like amazing. You know what I mean? Like up here, I feel like I already have only sequin here, and like on my lid, I'm kind of bare. All the sequins have kind of like gathered right here. So I'm not 100% sure about this sequin formula yet. This is the first time I've used it, so this is my first look. We play with different colors. When it came to Ritual, to kind of deepen out the look and I wanted to make it more vampy, I would say that when I was using a thinner brush to kind of like carve out my line, when I tried to blend out that kind of like sharp edges, I feel like it was kind of sticking in place. Like it kind of wanted to stay in one place, and I kind of had to say, no, buddy, you gotta move. And it wasn't really moving as much as I wanted it to. But when I used it on the lower lash line, like a tight line that you actually want it to be like stuck in place, it worked amazing. But you can kind of see a harsher line where I tried to kind of blend the shadow, but it kind of just kind of stayed in place. I feel like this shadow right here is going to be one you've got to build up slowly, and I'm kind of heavy-handed. Other than that, those are the main colors that I used on the lid for this look. I think it looks okay. I like the finished product. I do think that some people may not notice this as much as me, but I'm okay. I'm iffy. What I want to try doing is seeing if I put a glitter glue down and then put the sequin on top, like that matte sequin. What is it going to do? Because I almost feel like it needs glitter glue to keep the glitters there, but then how would a satin matte formula work on a glitter glue? Let's try it. All right, so here's a little bit of glitter glue on my finger. I'm gonna try putting it here in the front of my lid, and let's see what the sequin does. Let's see if it can stick to it. So here we go. So it looks like the glitter is caught a lot better to the lid. if you guys can tell. But like I thought, like that mattish kind of satin formula, it doesn't really go good on top of glitter glue. So it's kind of just like bunching up together, kind of creating some type of weird concoction on my eye. But I do see the glitters a lot more, but I couldn't wear it like this. Like my eyes, I don't know if you guys can see, it looks a little crepey because it's like all getting stuck to the creases because it's like a satin matte. So no, it doesn't work good with the glitter glue. You can see it more, but it doesn't look good. So let's move on to look number 3 and let's try something a little dramatic. All right, I'm back. I honestly, guys, I don't know how people do eye swatch videos because my eyes, like they don't hurt right now, but like imagining taking this off like so many times, I can't even imagine. Props to anybody who does eye swatch videos. So we're gonna do a dramatic look now. Let's go all vampy and let's see how this performs. I want to do a really dark smoky eye. It's what I've been wanting to do with this palette since I saw it. We're going to jump into this color right here, which is called Memory, and Memory is going to be our base color. I'm talking smoky here. So let's go ahead and see how dramatic we can make our eyes today. You thought I was kidding when I said dark smoky eye, huh? I was serious. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to blend out this top layer with the sequin shade because I already know that the sequin shade doesn't really stay in place. So I'm not even caring that it has the little glitters in it. Let's see if it even stays here. I was actually hoping that they would, but I don't think they will. Okay, so now that we've gotten like a vampy looking smoke going here, I'm just gonna start blending out all the edges with a clean brush because I don't want to add no more product. I just want it to kind of like go up, kind of like blending it, making it like look a little gray. We've got some black eyes going. Let's jump into the metallic grayish tone. I know most of you guys would be like, let's put some glitter on here, but I want to put metallic. Kind of interested in her formula. I always use my fingers for metallics, guys. I don't use brushes, so I don't know. To me, it's always the best way to apply. Okay, so let's put on some mascara. I think I'm gonna put a little liner. I just wanna add a little bit of something to the inner corners just because, I don't know, I feel like it. So I'm gonna just jump into this color one more time and add that. So here we've got our very vampy holiday party look. I think that this would look great on New Year's or for like, I don't know, like an office business party when you want to look like super sultry or something. Like this is a cool look. I didn't want to use the glitter on this one just because I felt like everybody would say use the glitter. And I honestly think that this metallic is a lot cooler. So I really like this look. I think it looks really pretty and I would totally wear this. Now, let's talk. Memory, I think, is one of the best shades so far in this palette. I think she formulated an awesome matte black. This was really, really good to use. Very easy. It blended pretty damn nice. That being said, I have some pretty good blacks. There is some bad blacks out there, but this is a very good black. I do love it. Sequin. Honestly, guys, I thought that this might even have a grayer undertone to it, but because it has sequin in it, it kind of like fools your eye into thinking that it's like a gray, but it's not. It's actually the same color basically as Memory, just with a little bit of glitter in it, so it kind of shifts the color so you think it looks gray. But if you swatch it, you can kind of tell that they're very similar in tone. It looks lighter because of the sequins in it, but it really isn't when you put it on the lid. So the problem I have with that is the sequin kind of like does disappear. I was scared that that was going to happen. I was hoping that her formula was going to be different from the ColourPop one, which I had that problem with the ColourPop one, but it's not. This sequin does disappear. The only way to really apply this so it stays is if you put it on with your finger, but when you do that, it kind of bunches up the product, so you do have to blend it out. So the sequin is kind of a fail for me so far. This metallic shade is absolutely stunning. I don't have anything like this. This has a shift to like a bluish tone. This is a beautiful metallic, and I feel like all of her formula almost looks like it shines like a glitter. Like, I don't know, it just all feels and looks like glitter. But this one right here is a beautiful, beautiful metallic. Probably one of my favorite shades so far that I've tried. I was gonna use the glitter, but to be honest, guys, all the glitters are gonna work basically the same. The hues are going to be a little bit different. This is a really pretty hue. I bet if I put it on, it would look really nice. If you guys really want me to, I will. All right, fine, I will. Twist my finger, I will. I'll throw some on at the end. I'm going to throw a little bit of this glitter on so we could try this whole row. But so far, this has been my favorite row, which is weird because this is the blacks. But so far, I've tried a few different shades. I still have a few more to go, but yeah. Some people have asked me, like, how do I put on glitter so that it's, like, appropriate for when you're getting older, because you don't want to look crazy, like, with glitter, like, if you're trying to be a kid. I totally get that. So I'm going to show you guys what I would do. My daughter opened my glitter glue, so it's really hard to get the glitter glue out. What I would do is I would use the glitter just kind of like a spotlight rather than a full lid of glitter. So, like, for this one, I'm just going to use it as a spotlight. In between the transition between the matte and where the metallic is, I'm going to just put a little bit of the glitter glue. This is the glitter. And I'm just going to tap it and just place it right in the transition. So it kind of gives me like this sparkle. But it doesn't look like I have a whole lid of glitter. So I'm not like trying too hard, but it does have the glitter going. So no glitter, glitter. And that's what I would kind of do now too. So the glitter itself to me is also a pretty glitter. It has a pretty undertone to it. I do think that her formula of her glitters so far has been pretty unique in the sense that I feel like I pick up so much when I put my finger in there. When I do that with other glitters, even the Huda Beauty one, you have more separation. So you're getting a lot of glitter on your finger. I don't know if they just packed in more glitter into the pans and that's what makes you pick up more glitter, or if the glitters are so fine that when you stick it in, it's like, oh my God, there's like 5 million glitters getting stuck to your fingers. But I do think the formula of the glitters is actually really nice, but do not use this without a glitter glue. I don't suggest it at all. Anytime that they say things are not supposed to be used on your lids, I would not say use it without a glitter glue. But I will tell you, my mom and I were having this conversation and my mom looked at me and she was like, yeah, I can see you can't use the glitter, but isn't it for your eyes? Isn't it made for your eyes? Because it's in an eyeshadow palette. And I go, yeah, but the truth is that it's not supposed to be used on your eyes. And she was kind of like stunned by that concept that an eyeshadow palette had stuff that you're not supposed to use on your eyes. And then I had to tell her that, you know, it can fall on your eyes and scratch you kind of like a glitter. And she was like, you know, like she didn't think of it, because when you buy an eyeshadow palette, you just think it's approved for your eyes. That's what it's for, you know? So it is not really 100% common sense, because, you know, you buy a lipstick, you're thinking that you can put the lipstick on and it's not gonna hurt your lips, or that you can swallow it because it's gonna be on your lips. We're gonna move on to another day. This is gonna be my last look for today. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into this palette one last time. I have used this palette nonstop, guys. I already have a very good idea of what I think of it. We're gonna jump first into Aura, and we're gonna set that down on the entire lid. Okay, so I like this color Aura. The only thing I will tell you, if you're my skin tone, this is so similar to my skin tone. So I do see it like kind of canceling out the darkness on my lid, but it's not like it shows up too much. Like it's not bright enough to like really make an impact. So just FYI, if you're my skin tone, this color is just gonna be like a powdery kind of color for you, like if you're putting powder on your lids. So I do wanna show you guys how this color Poet translates on the lid, because I did do a look already. If you guys saw my Make Up Your Mind on this palette, the follow-up. Let's jump into Story first. So let's first jump into Story. Story is another color that, like I told you guys before, I think it's a little bit more orange than I personally would have liked. So what I'm going to do is just focus this one very close to the eyebrow, because I kind of just want this color to kind of like pop through. So I'm going to focus it close to the eyebrow, starting in the crease and then blending up. So then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab onto, let's see, should I? First I'm going to grab Poet, the matte color, and I'm going to blend that into the outer edge. I want you guys to see how this color is a lot darker here, and then when you grab it and put it on, how it gets a little bit, I would say it gets a little bit pink, more pink than I personally like, but you guys will see. Okay, so if you guys can see, as I've been blending, you see how it's turning more into like a pink tone. That's the only thing with this color that I don't love. I wish it would have gone more burgundy than it goes pink, but that's just a personal preference. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try applying the Poet with the Sequin. Been wanting to use this shade because it has like purple reflex in it. I'm going to use my finger on one lid and then I'm going to try applying it with the brush on the other one. So I'm just going to pat it onto the lid. Now this one, I actually see the sequin a lot more than all the other ones that I have used. The same thing's happening though, guys. As I'm blending it, I lost all the sequin here in the center. I don't know if you guys can tell. So I'm gonna have to, like, I lost basically all the sequin, so I'm just gonna grab with my finger and pat it on. Oh my god, look at the fallout I just got on my eye. Oh, a lot more fallout fell onto my face than I wanted, so let me fix that up a little bit. I should put powder under my eyes, but I'm lazy, so I'm not going to. So there we go. We're gonna do this same effect on this eye. This time I'm actually gonna use a brush to apply the sequin shade, and let's see how it applies. Oof, that's a lot of fallout, a lot. See, I'm applying it with a brush. I don't even, where did all the sequin go? I'm tapping it on. Where'd it go? Yeah, you have to apply the sequins with your finger. I mean, I personally don't see it with the brush. I don't know about anybody else, but I don't see it with the brush. So that's what we have going. Honestly, this look changed a little bit on me. I don't know why. I was expecting that this Poet sequin color was going to have a little bit more of a different color tone to the other Poet. So it basically looks like I used all the same shade, and you see a little bit of reflex in there, but they're like not very noticeable. To amp this up, I'm just going to use this color right here from the line of Story. I actually really love this shade. I've put it on before. I'm going to use this in the center to just kind of do like a halo-ish type of eye. The metallics move around a lot. Let me try spraying my brush. And then I'm just going to jump right back into this color. Let's move on. I'm gonna go ahead and just grab, I'm gonna grab a little bit more of the Poet shade, even though I'm trying to stay away from that color, and just put that on the lower lash line. Okay, now let's grab a little bit of Ritual, and let's line the lower lash line. This Ritual color works so good to line the lower lash line. So now I'm gonna grab a little bit of Ritual. I just feel like the edges need to be a little bit darker, so I'm just gonna add a little Ritual to the edges just to kind of deepen the edge a little bit, because that color Poet is just like, it's just not 100% dark enough. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and put on some mascara, throw on some lipstick. I'll give you guys some thoughts. Alright guys, and this is the final look. This is using more of a colorful look using this palette, so this is what I came out with. I do think that it came out really pretty at the end. Obviously, mascara always helps everything look so much more put together. I really honestly do like the look. I do wish it had a little bit more dimension to it, and that is kind of the issue that I have with this palette a little bit, but we're going to get into all of those thoughts right now. So let's get into my final thoughts of what I think of the palette. This is kind of hard for me to say because I really honestly was very excited about this palette, and it's not that I'm not liking it, because there is parts of it that I do like. It's just some of the stuff that doesn't work, I'm a little bit more disappointed in than I thought that I would be. So let's just get into everything. I'm just going to tell you all of it. The good, the bad, everything. This is my opinion, guys. This is what I'm thinking. This is the way I use palettes. This is how I feel, you know? So I have to tell you guys how I feel. I don't know if you guys feel the same. Let me know below. I'm totally curious to see what you guys think. But this is my final verdict. So let's talk firstly about the matte shades. So I think that there's some matte shades in here that blend a lot better than others. I definitely think that you cannot use a primer on your lids with a lot of these shades, especially in the mattes. When I did use a primer, I felt like they stuck a lot and I was having problems blending them. Don't put on a primer. Just go straight in with a bare lid. Memory is one of the best shades in the palette when it comes to the mattes. This blended really, really good. It was a nice black. I really, really liked it. Ritual to me is the worst shade in the entire palette for the mattes. It blends pretty hard. It doesn't blend very well. Ritual to me is the best shade in this palette for tight lining or doing something that you don't want to blend. So if you want to use it as a liner on your lower lash line, this shade is like incredible. Honestly, probably one of the best I've ever used as a liner before because it gets stuck together. But when it comes to a matte shadow that you want to blend out, that quality is no longer good. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to a blendable matte shadow, Ritual was not blending very good. Even in this look that I was using today, I was very careful not to put too much Ritual on because I know that the blending is not that great and I didn't want to ruin the look. So Ritual is a very tricky shade. Story blended decent. It's a pretty color. The problem that I have with Story is I like the color in the pan more than I like the color on the lid. I feel like it goes a lot more orange than I wanted it to. Feel like with the other shades here, I wish that this one was like a deeper orange, like more of like a burnt orange than it is like a more orangey orange, you know? So this Story is a fine shade. It blended okay for me. I didn't have too much issue with it. I just didn't love the color of it. Soothe to me worked really nice. I didn't have a problem with Soothe. I mean, but mostly I used that as a transitional shade and it didn't give me a problem. Like to me, it just didn't give me a problem. Aura, almost the same color as my skin tone, so it didn't really give me a problem, and if it would have, I couldn't even tell anyways because it's like the same color as my skin. To lay down on a bare lid, to set the entire lid, get rid of any darkness, that's what I would use this for. It's a little bit too peachy undertone for me to use as like if I was doing a really dark smoky eye and I wanted something really light here, this color almost is just like too much like my skin tone. I wish it was a little bit less peach and a little bit more white. And then finally the Poet shade, love the color in the pan, but the same thing that happened with Story is happening with Poet. It translates very pink on the lid, and I like the color in here more than I like the color on the lid. So I feel like the mattes are okay. They're okay. The only one that I really cannot stand is Ritual. The rest of them, they were fine. You know, do I think that they are the best blending mattes? I do not think so. I think that they're okay. A little bit inconsistent with the blending, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to the sequins shade, for this texture, I was so excited. I literally even told you guys on Make Up Your Mind that the reason I bought this palette is because I had nothing like this sequin formula. I thought it was so cool. I've seen it done by ColourPop before, but the problem that I had with the ColourPop one, which I told you guys before, is that the sequins just fall off your lid. So it's almost like, yeah, it's a matte shadow, you know? That happens with this formula, and it wasn't as exciting as I thought. Now, the difference is I feel like these are more satiny looking than they are matte. So besides just the sequin, it has a little bit of a shine to it. So it's a pretty shadow, but once you put it on the lid, I've said this a few times, as you guys can see when I was doing my little tutorials, the sequins start to fall off. If you apply it with your finger, you see it there and it looks so pretty and you're all excited. But the thing with matte shadows and even satin shadows is you can't just go like this and leave it like that. You have to come in with a brush and kind of blend the edges a little bit, because if not, it just looks like a powdery mess, you know? Like how do you do that without blending it? It just doesn't look right, you know? So I feel like the only way I was able to apply these for them to look good was with my finger, which I'm okay, that's fine. I apply them with my finger, but I need to blend them. So when I started to blend, trying to stay away from the sequin, no matter what, the sequins just little by little just started to fall. And it wasn't that all of them disappeared. On some shadows, I feel like all of them disappeared more than others. Like Poet, I saw it come up so much because the reflex in here are like purple, so they really stuck out. But then when I went in with a little brush and started to blend, I was like, where did they go? They're gone. Ah! So it was really frustrating. Aura, I don't feel like I saw the sequins at all. Soothe, I did see some of the sequins, but it wasn't like super noticeable. Story has a pretty sequin in it too, but same thing happened. I didn't use this color right here I did use this one. I don't remember what I used it for. And even the sequin gray, I used this one to blend out the black and that really smoky black eye. And I didn't even see the sequins at the end. Like, it kind of like just disappeared. Now, I feel like the sequin formula to me is, how do I put this? This is a makeup artist's nightmare formula. And I'll tell you why. Like before you say anything, this is why. the sequin formula doesn't stay in place. So like when you're creating an eye look, at least for me, when I'm starting to create this eye look, I want, you know, like if I wanted that sequin, I want that sequin like right here. And I think it would look so beautiful. But the problem is that this formula, these sequins, they move around. So the sequins for me get stuck right inside of my crease, and then I'll have like a matte lid, and then I'll just have like a sequin line. So it just looks messy. So it's like one of those things that you want to place it in a certain place, but the formula and the sequins don't want to stay in a certain place. Either A, they fall off, or B, they gather together in certain areas that are probably more oily on your lid that the sequins catch to. And then everything else, little by little, those sequins go and they're gone. So such a beautiful, beautiful formula in the pan. Doesn't work great on the lid. Like I do think like though for the everyday person, you might actually like this formula, especially just using it on a bare lid and just grabbing this and just like throwing it all over your lid. And then you might have like little sequins in different areas, and it might look, when you move your face, it might look pretty, and you don't really care that it has to be in a certain place. You might actually like this. You might be like, wow, that's really cool, and I feel like I have glitter on. For me, personally, I like to put glitter where I want to put glitter, and I don't want the glitter anywhere else. And I feel like this formula moves around too much for me. You can't use it with a glitter glue because of the actual texture of the formula. You can't use it with a glitter glue. It does a matte, this type of satin shade. If you guys saw in my example, if you put it on top of a glitter glue, it just bunches up and you see the sequin a lot more, but the shadow underneath looks terrible. So it doesn't, you can't use a glitter glue. I almost feel like if it was me, I would say this formula is almost, is going somewhere, but maybe it needed to be more of a metallic type of shade with the glitter in it so that you can use a wet brush, or you could use a glitter glue and those glitters would adhere to your lid better. Like it's almost like it needs to be formulated a little bit different for it to really give a really good effect. It's like it needs, the glitters don't stay in place. The sequin formula is basically the same color as the matte. In the pans, they look like a different color. And I actually thought that they were a different color. I thought Poet was this color, and I thought that this one was, you know, like a lighter version of Poet with some glitters in it. I thought that this was a lighter version of this with some glitters in it. I thought this was like a gray, and it's not. It's the same color. It's just the glitters in it make it look to the eye like it's a different color. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys swatches, which people aren't doing it this way, and I want you guys to see this. I'm gonna swatch this row together, this row together, this row together, so that you guys can see the colors. So you can actually see that once the glitters fall off of this, it's basically the same color with a little bit of a different formula, because this one does have more of a sheen to it, but it's the same color. So the problem that I was having with that is I was like, okay, well, I want to use Poet to put in the outer edge, and then this looks to me like it would be a lighter version of Poet with some glitters in it. When I went to go grab it and put it on and started blending it out, I realized I had the same color all over the lid. It wasn't really a different color, you know, and I don't know if her point was to have all of these the same, but you know, since the metallic is not the same color and the glitter is not really the same color, why wasn't this one at least a different tone to Poet? So when the glitters do fall off, at least you have a different tone. So that's a little bit frustrating. Now, I'm not gonna say that this is like a throwaway row. Like it's not like that either. I can see somebody definitely using this row and throwing it all over the lid, like I said, and enjoying it. It's just, you know, for me and the way I like to apply makeup, I was kind of like, damn, it looks so beautiful in the pan, but I don't think that the formula is a win. And it's the same as the ColourPop formula for me. Like the ColourPop formula did the same exact thing, and and I was so excited for that formula too when I saw it, and it just kind of disappeared, and I've said that in the past. So this one needs a little working on. This formula needs some working on, but it would be really cool if this could actually be a formula with the glitters in it that would actually stick a little bit better to the lid. But I don't know, maybe it's not possible, I don't know. And then when it comes to the metallic row, I do really like the metallics. Some of these I like better than others. This is the most beautiful color in this entire palette. This is one of the most beautiful colors. This metallic is amazing. It is so freaking pretty. Like honestly, for the palette, I would buy it for this color. It's a beautiful metallic with this purpley blue undertone to it. I love it. I also love this metallic right here. Story is absolutely stunning. I love it. It has like a peachy undertone to it. This ritual color, it's pretty, but I mean, it's nothing out of this world. The Aura metallic, I wish it was more blinding. I feel like it's a little bit too dull. This one's also a pretty metallic. This Poet metallic is a little bit more pinky. It's also pretty. One of the things I will tell you about her metallic formula, besides this one, all of these four here, I feel like they're a little bit more subtle than I expected them to be. This is the most impactful metallic. I don't know why they're not all like this one, but I don't know if you guys had that same experience. Let me know down below, but I wish that they were all like this one. I feel like this one had a really cool formula. Then I feel like these, for some reason, I don't know if it was just the reflex that are in it or what, they're just not the same. This is the best one. Now, I will tell you this formula moves around a lot, and I don't know why that is either. Once you put it down, like I was trying to do a spotlight, once I tried to blend the edges, I just felt like the whole thing kind of like blended away. So I had to wet the brush and do it wet, and wet it worked better, but it wasn't like the metallic stayed in place too good. It kind of moves a lot. So just keep that in mind when you're doing eye looks. The metallics do move. Finally, the glitter formula is probably one of the most beautiful formulas in this entire palette. It is so cool the way that you could just stick your finger in here and you get so many glitters. It's absolutely amazing, but it's also one of those that when you put it on, it's like so hard to take off. The formula of the glitters is great. One thing that I got a little tricked by, and this isn't anybody's fault, but when I heard that it was like a smushy formula, I actually thought that maybe it had some type of adhesive already in it, like kind of like if it was on a base that would make it a lot easier to adhere to the lid, but it's not. It's a loose kind of glitter. It's just there's so many glitters packed into here that when you put your finger in, you get so much. So it's like very fine and very compacted glitter, so it doesn't fall out of the pan or anything, but you do need to use some type of glitter glue. I would definitely tell you guys, like I said before, do not try using this without glitter glue. And not because I don't think it's going to adhere to your lid, it probably will, but glitter is not supposed to be used on the lids. It's dangerous if it falls in your eyes. So I personally cannot recommend to anybody to use this without a glitter glue, because I would hate for that one person to say, okay, let me put it on without glitter glue, and it falls in their eye and scratches them. So for me, if they say that you should not use it on your lids, I'm going to say you shouldn't use it on your lids without a glitter glue, because the glitter glue at least will make the glitter stick to your lid and not fall into your eyes. And I really want to point that out, that there is two shadows in here that have glitter particles in it. This one also has some glitter in it, but these glitters are a lot more fine than this one. So definitely this is the one that I would be a lot more worrisome. So that's my thoughts on each one of them. And you guys saw the swatches. You saw what I was talking about when it came to the mattes and the sequins. The other thing is you guys asked me about wear test. So I did do a wear test. I wore it yesterday. I did a very neutral looking eye look because I did go to the office, and I will tell you I put it on in the morning and I wore it all the way until the afternoon. So by the end of the night, I'm going to tell you guys my eyeshadow did not move. It looked fantastic. So definitely the wear time on this is incredible. I do think that this is a long-lasting, very quality palette. Another thing I'm going to tell you guys is this mirror is pretty phenomenal. This is probably one of the best mirrors I've ever seen in an eyeshadow palette. This is absolutely amazing. I love this mirror, and even this part, like the entire palette feels heavy. It is $48 US, so it is not a cheap palette. Once you put in shipping and taxes and everything, I think I paid like $57 or around there, so it was not inexpensive, but you are getting a lot of shades. So definitely it's a quality palette. I do love the idea of it looking like a book. I think that was very smart. Now that I have the palette, and besides all the problems that I have with customer service and all that stuff, forget about that. Just on the palette on its own, I do feel like there's going to be a lot of people who are going to really like this because it has a very pretty look. It looks so beautiful. Mostly the glitters and all the shine that happens in this palette is very beautiful. So I do think that there's going to be a large amount of people who are going to like this. But I feel like if you're somebody who is more like me and applies makeup like me, you might be a little bit like, oh, it missed the mark on a few levels. Do I think it's a bad palette? I do not. Do I think the average person is going to like it? I do. I do think the average person will like this. And I do think that there is going to be some tones in here that I'm definitely going to use and I'm definitely going to like. Now, another thing that I've been thinking about too is that she's calling this volume 1. Does that mean, so I'm wondering if that means that she's going to be releasing this same style palette in a bunch of different colors. The cool tone textures, the, you know, purple textures, I don't know. And then she's gonna have like this same idea happening with a bunch of different palettes. At first I loved it. I thought it was very smart and I thought it was cool, and I still kind of think it's a smart idea. But I feel like after learning how this palette works, I'm almost a little bit skeptical of buying a bunch of different ones. If you understand, like, how many times do I wear glitter? Not that often. And now I have 6 huge pans of glitter. I think I'm good for glitter for a really long time. Yes, the other glitters might be in green, they might be in yellow or whatever, but I've got 6 glitters in here. That was a lot of glitter. You know, I almost feel like she could have done 2 glitters in here. Maybe just did 2 glitters in here and maybe added just a little bit more fun here. Maybe some deepening shades or something just to make this palette a little bit more universally usable. Because like I can't even see like a makeup artist using this like on a bride or anything like that, because there's not enough to go in here. There's certain looks you can do and then you're done. I feel like it's a great idea. What I would have liked to have seen was maybe the sequin and glitter cut in half, and then this whole row here been like transitional shades for these mattes that worked good with those mattes. They could have been within the same color story, maybe like a lighter tone, or it made this more into a palette that was a lot more usable. And I'm not trying to trash the palette because I do think it's good, and I do think there's going to be a lot of people that like it. Like I said, I love this row right here. I think this row is incredible, and there's some colors here that I really enjoy. I just think for the future, like on the next one that she does, like if it was me, I would not put as many glitters. I would split the row, and I would definitely think a little bit more of complete eye look. That's just my opinion on it. I think that there is going to be people who like it. I do like the palette. It is $48. I would say that if you love these colors, then maybe this is good for you, but I would say maybe you want to wait and see what the next one that's going to come out looks like too, because if she's going to continue to do this, then there's going to be a lot of these that are going to release. And I feel like ColourPop had like this similar kind of idea when they've been coming out with like their orange palette, their purple palette, their yellow palette. They just didn't separate it by textures, but it's all like about one color story. And instead of doing one color, we'll do like neutrals, we'll do cool tones. Then I don't know if she'll move on to like smoky and things like that. Like I think that's probably where they're going. I'm not 100% sure what the next one will look like, but I have a feeling that's where they're going. And I'm really gonna point this out though, because I really want you guys to hear this. I feel like this row here, the sequin row, should have been a different tone to the first row, because once those sequin fall off, I'm telling you guys, it is the same color. So I feel like that was a little bit of a miss, and I hope that in her next palettes, she changes this row. She can leave the glitter in there, just make it a different tone to the first row, so that when the glitters fall off, because they do, you have to be, you know, realistic here, the glitters fall off, the color was different enough that you were able to still create a really pretty eye. That's all I have to say. So definitely I think that if you guys like this color story, and if you guys feel like this is the type of palette you would use, then it would be worth it. Do I feel a little bit let down by it? I do. Do I think it works good? I feel like some shades work better than others. For her first eyeshadow palette launch, I do think it was a good one. I think that in theory, this was an amazing idea. Do I think it missed the mark a little bit? I do, but that doesn't make it a bad palette. I feel like this concept is still good. I just think it needs to be tweaked a little bit. Like I still think it needs a little bit of work, but maybe on her next few rounds, they're gonna get a lot better. Like I said, it was okay, you know? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave me your comments below. Let me know what you guys thought. Did you guys buy this palette? Are you in love with it? Are you thinking the same as me? Leave me your comments, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.